Full Moon in Taurus energy reading. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to the With Love Cole YouTube channel. This channel documents my life as well as covers topics like wellness, human design, and so much more. I talk about my family life and pregnancy journey. I also talk about what it's like to live as a 3/5 self-projected projector in human design. So come along with me as well as check out my sea moss shop where I make sea moss gel at withlovecole.com and find me on all platforms at With Love Cole. Hey beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching this video, thank you so much. And also, if you're watching this video, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me continue to create this content and also stay in community with you guys as I talk the transits. I don't feel so alone being the person talking to the trees and looking at the sky. So this video is about the full moon in Taurus that happened October 28th, and my life got pretty hectic around that time. So this goes along with the IG post I created for the video, and feel free to check it out as I'm going to reference it in this video. So in my new moon and full moon videos, I talk about what's happening in the sky a little bit. I also talk about the human design transits that are transiting our conscious sun and earth at the time of the full moon and new moon. And I give you guys some self-care and writing prompts just so you can check in with yourselves, have a moment of introspection, and also it be guided, especially if you're someone like me who has been neurodivergent. I don't know if I still consider myself that, but you just think differently, or your mind just works differently, and sometimes it helps when you have something to help you focus and rein it in. So this is a great guide. Know that these videos are timeless and you can come back and watch them at any time. So let's jump into it. The full moon in Taurus on October 28th, around that time when this full moon happened, my partner and I found out that someone we knew that we saw not too long before had passed away. And it was unfortunate because we know that this person had wanted to spend time and we couldn't really get around to hanging out. And I think that kind of just made us really introspective about how can we be in community more and show up for people more, as well as still spend time in our family unit and take care of ourselves. And it's a lot to think about and juggle, but it's knowing that like when something like that happens, when someone passes away and loses their life, it just makes you just, rethink a lot of things, especially your values, your community, how you show up in the world, etc. So between that and then just the holiday season, my family going through being sick as well as like being sick twice. And I think part of it is like something's happening on the West Coast where it was just like everyone was getting the same sinus infection, so, or whatever. So we are all feeling much better now, and because of that, that is why I wanted to sit down and do the video. So let's talk about the themes of the full moon as it relates to the fact that, if you had gone through any of those similar things, we see that this is something that happens collectively. A lot of these transits, when we are all in periods where it just feels like what is going on in the world, it's not just affecting one person, but all of us. So the mantra I wrote for the full moon in Taurus on October 28th was seeing the oneness. And this is seeing the oneness of all life. I had the spider as the animal totem because spiders are, they make webs, which are very like magical, and they come and just like they also kind of like clear up things and they help us. Like they actually get rid of pests and insects. Yet they are also kind of like, there's a conception that spiders are scary and they're evil and they're venomous, and some of those things may be true, but within it, it's a vibration of fear that is actually permeating, and spiders kind of reflect that same fear that permeates in consciousness. So let's talk a little bit about the themes. I'm going to be reading from my notes as I have a lot of these videos to make. And yeah, I'm just basically kind of creating a archive for you guys to come back and check out these videos when you want to connect to these transits. So Themes are appreciation, web, release, grieving, restoration, herbalism, reveal, fear, confrontation. And the reason why like some of these themes were just really relevant at the time was because I felt like there was a deep level of collective release. And I felt like even not too long after that, by the second full moon, I heard about another passing also from taking their life. And I'll probably also link in the description of this video if you or someone you know is suffering from mental health issues or suicidal ideation. Please feel free to call a hotline and talk to someone. Also, if you are a parent going through that, feel free to check out a mom and or dad support group, and I'll link that below as well, because it's really important to be in community, especially at times when you are feeling depressed. But make sure to be around people that can actually hold that space for you. And that's why hotlines, support groups can be very integral for having safe spaces for you to be vulnerable and share those emotions without feeling judged. I also mentioned appreciation. I think sometimes when someone falls into the vibration of deep depression or thinking of, doing something extreme like that, it really comes from not appreciating the things that they have and they're around. Some themes that have come up from the people that I've known that have passed is white guilt, dealing with maybe feeling like they carry the shame of their ancestors for how they've treated people in the past, and not necessarily feeling good about that. Also feelings of worthiness, whether they feel valued or appreciated, and basing it off of an external validation instead of internal. Also just like fear of stepping into their identity. Sometimes it can be very scary to be your loudest, brightest self. And it's important that we do that, because if we don't, it can actually do the opposite and put us in these vibrations of sadness, depression, apathy, indifference, etc. So now to jump into the energy reading I wrote. It is from the Earth Warriors Oracle deck. I highly recommend this deck. I'll probably link it below in this video. Actually, I know I'll link it below in this video. This is what it looks like. And the card that I pulled from this deck is card 30. And I'm just going to read you guys what I wrote, and because it's my energy reading. So it's Panthera, the precious and rare. It says, treasuring what is sacred, original, and worth preserving in human culture is part of our task as those who are aware enough to recognize it. One of the tribal wisdoms of the Matsés people is the best way to contribute is to do what one does best. There will be many who want to stop you, and yet Black Jaguar, a rare variant of the panther species of South America, brings the medicine of fearlessness and a willingness to act. The ability to discover hidden knowledge and unravel secrets. The Matsés and the Black Jaguar are rare and endangered, unique treasures upon this earth. Their presence in our consciousness reflects a conversation taking place between our soul and the Divine Mother. She knows how to heal any ills within her realm. All we need to do is follow the urgings of our heart with confidence, and all that we need to know will be imparted so that her beautiful will can be brought to bear. And the reason why this is so important is because, one, I love that it mentions the Divine Mother. And the Divine Mother, for many people, it could even be the Mother Mary, it could be a deity, it could be working with plant medicine. But it's really important to, when you do get divine downloads or ideas, to share them, because sometimes hoarding that within you and not sharing and actually just being kind of stagnant or feeling stuck can depress you even more. And then it kind of is a cycle of just self-sabotage or escapism, because you're not actually transmuting the energy that you're tapping into. Also, when I think about, the people who passed away, I just think about the fact that what if instead of making that decision, they made another decision to transmute that energy into activism, or transmute that energy into collective sharing, maybe creating content and speaking of their personal experiences. There's so many ways that we can choose a different reality for ourselves, but we do have to first be in appreciation and see the preciousness of life in us, as you know, our uniqueness and what we offer to the world. If you feel like you don't offer anything, it's very easy to make a decision to no longer be here. But if you know that you do offer something, you're more likely to be in the spirit of activity, of happiness, of positivity, and sharing that. Now let's talk about human design gate 28, which transited. And gate 28 is called preponderance of the game player. And this is literally the gate that holds the energy of the fear of death. And this is about risk taking. So, or the fear of dying. You can correct me in the comments, but this is about risk taking and the energy to actually play the game of life, knowing that there's going to be times that we have to go on our instincts. This gate is located in the spleen, so it's very much about our gut and our instinct. And we know that people who often are on the leading edge is because they hop on those intuitive instincts, they take big risk, and they receive big rewards. So let's read what I wrote for the energy reading. It says, grief comes in many ways and many forms, because again, this gate is about death, so I am talking about grief here. So this release allows us to transcend, and sometimes grieving means moving on from things quickly because we know we have to make the best decision, to the decision for survival, or the decision for, you know, really for survival, right? Because we're humans, and like literally every day we live, it's to make sure we can live another day. But it's being able to move through things quickly and build that resilience so we can do that. So it says, this release allows us to transcend. Grief, although it can feel like a debilitating process, can be the very experience we need to finally face our fears. The greatest of all human fears is the fear of death. Death feels like an ending, but it can often be the beginning of a new cycle. To reflect on life as if you aren't a part of it is the beginning of understanding your purpose here and the beauty of the spiral. So yeah, I think that was a mouthful in itself, but also intuitive hit. I want to tell you guys, if you're watching this video and in connection with that gate, feel free to check out Bashar on TikTok. I'm seeing a lot of the videos. He is a channeler. I don't know the man's real name, but the channeler energy, when he channels, he calls himself Bashar. And a lot of the things he channels, similar to like Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham Hicks, is very, you know, high level in thinking and in mindset, and can also be very healing, especially on topics of death and, you know, our soul and our purpose. So now let's talk about gate 27, nurturing, another gate that transited at this time. So my energy reading, I wrote, when we think of nurturing, we think of food and babies often, but the act of nurturing is so much deeper. Weather patterns, food cycles, caring for global community, all of these themes have a place in this gate. Similar to the weather and food, there are cycles of nourishment that come after depletion. And notice that that is part of that energy in the gene keys. Nourishing always comes after an energy of depletion or decrease. So know that it is the wheel of life. Gate 27 is a Taurus gate and rules over Venetian comforts, sustenance being one of them. Through deep nurturing, we can find our strength and have vitality beyond our physical capacity. So the shadow energy of this gate is selfishness, and then the gift of this gate is altruism, knowing that there are moments in time that we will have to extend ourselves when we may not be necessarily full. And then we have the energy of selflessness, which is the highest frequency or city of nurturing, because this is being able to fully give of ourselves, because it's no longer us acting. It's kind of like our divine will acting. And, you know, that is, the cities are always kind of like spiritual in its energy. So it's kind of like, when I think of cities, I think of like a Christ consciousness energy that you're tapping into when it comes to nurturing. So when we think of risk taking always involves a level of giving of ourself, our resource, our time, our energy. And sometimes it requires us to release things to take the risk. So here we're seeing this balance of what do we nurture and what do we let go of. And it's important to see the things within yourself to nurture, because when you see yourself as something to nurture, you do not fall into the shadow gate, the shadow frequency of gate 28, which is of purposelessness and gambling, which is like not taking your life seriously, or, putting your life literally at risk. What I think is really interesting is around this time, I had noticed a few spiders in my home, and I was actually being very mindful of wanting to save them. And I didn't know why. I just wasn't trying to kill it, but I was trying to get it out the window. And I was very intentional about that. And then recently I saw a video, a girl on Instagram, and I'll probably try to link her below too. My description boxes tend to be super full now of information. But she was just playing with her spider, and she had raised 600 spiders, jumping spiders. And I was just so impressed by her empathy, compassion, nurturing, and care of this spider. And I just was wow, we can have one reality where we're so afraid and we want to kill it, and then we can have another reality of this animal is actually so sweet and loving to me, and also just beautiful. It was furry. Most people don't view spiders so closely, so it's looks furry and cuddly instead of just claws and aggressive. So yeah, that was a moment for me where I was just really happy I saved those spiders, because I felt really good in the moment, and I felt like I was communicating with them as I was getting them out the window. And then seeing her communicate with her spiders and how many spiders she raised after having a really intense fear. She had a phobia of them, to coming to raise 600 of them. One she had for 2 years that she named Rose. Or more than 2 years maybe, but she named her Rose, and I was that is just really cute. So anyway, I'll move on from the spiders. Actually, before I move on from the spiders, I want to shout out my friends Desi and Sierra, because they are, well, I don't know, I'm almost sure they're still vegan, but not only are they just mindful of what they eat and consume, but they literally will always try to save an animal. They'll rescue animals when they find them. I remember being in Bali with Desi, and she literally saved a butterfly who literally ended up flying 2 more feet and died right after and fell into the water. But it was just the thought of her wanting to save the animal. And then we kind of realized well, the insect, we kind of realized I guess destiny's, fate, just decided for that butterfly to no longer be with us. But it was just, again, the thought of seeing the beauty in every living thing and wanting to take care of it, nurture it, and save it. And Sierra has gate 27 in her design. I think that actually might be her conscious sun. So that's the nurturing energy as well. We see how it plays out in everyday life and in people's designs. So now that we've talked about that so much, let's hop into some self-care. So the self-care prompts I wrote for this is study Chiron, and that is an asteroid that deals with healing and wounding. So since this was a really intense energy of just death and rebirth and, grieving, the grieving process, I figured it was really good to look at your natal chart and see where you have Chiron. Next is pray for the world, because the world needs prayers. It's really important to speak because our voices hold vibrations. And if you think about all the vibrations that are out there, the music that's created, vibrations of anger and hate, you can add your positive vibration of, speaking of what you want over the world. I really love the mantra Ho'oponopono. It's a Hawaiian proverb that means I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you, because those are the 4 greatest things you can say to someone, and it's kind of all packed within this one mantra. So If you don't know what to say and you're not a prayerful person, you can literally just say ho'oponopono to the situation, to the person, and yeah, it'll make you feel better. It does for me, so I'm just sharing it. Next is check out Consciousness Evolution Journey. I really love this YouTube channel. Her name is Dee, the person who runs the channel, and she just really creates content that is super high vibrational and positive. And if you really love spiritual, esoteric conversation, tarot cards, oracle pulls, she just makes really great videos that will help boost your mood, that'll also give you the motivation and the hope to continue and be better. And I just think like we need to help uplift creators like that, to have more of what we want to see. Next, as I mentioned that words are vibrations, I'll actually mention another creator. Her name is Soul and Vibration. I love her videos. She does daily videos. She's really consistent, and she does daily videos covering astrological transits and numerology, and they're great. And she's also, I'm assuming Caribbean, and I just really vibe with that. So check her out. And since she talks about vibration, I do feel like her content, she's very affirmative in the things that she shares. So check that out. Self-care prompt with speak affirmations over yourself and others. Next is sleep with a loved one because you want to aura bond. And aura bonding is really helpful for producing things, bonding hormones like oxytocin in our body. It's also really good for connecting and being in circuitry with and creating that synastry with people we love, like genuinely just spending time in aura with them when your bodies are both at rest. And I also have 2 just Easter eggs here if you are just interested in finding messages in songs or synchronicities. Check out Corinne Bailey Rae, the song Put Your Record On. And also another one you can check out is the movie Inception. Just for this transit, I feel like those 2, forms of media is what popped out to me. Oh, and the last one. So Abraham Hicks, she has a video on YouTube that's actually from Source of Inspiration, and it's called Abraham Hicks Don't Try to Fix Anything, Just Let It Go Wonky. And I really just love it for this time because usually when there's periods of grieving and sadness, it feels like the world's in chaos and it's all going wonky. And I feel like that video just kind of reminded me it's all part of a divine timing and plan. Because if we think that everything is working out for us, it is. So I'm gonna also put that for you guys. So yes, just check out the description for anything I've mentioned in here that you want to see, and I'll see you guys in my next video.